Hey everybody, John Skiba here from the Arizona Consumer Law Group and the Consumer Warrior Project. And, I've had a few questions as far as what the Consumer Warrior Project is. It's kind of an extension of my law practice here in Arizona that's really geared towards helping people by providing tools and resources that you can use on my website for people who maybe either don't need to hire an attorney or aren't in the financial position to be able to afford to be able to hire an attorney. And if you want to learn more about those resources, they're free, and some of them are minimal cost. You can go over to legal.coach. That's the actual website, legal.coach, and there's a bunch of information on that there. Today's topic that I wanted to talk about is the service of process, how to avoid the service processor that's bringing by a complaint and a summons. What this is, let me back up a bit. What this is if you fall behind on credit card debt, medical bills, anything like that, there's a high chance that eventually you're going to be sued by either the original creditor or by a junk debt buyer or a collection agency. Whoever actually is claiming that they own the account, they might file a lawsuit against you. And if they do, how that whole process starts is they're required to have someone, usually a constable or more likely a process server, a private process server, will bring by a copy of the summons and the complaint that has all their allegations in it. They're required to provide you with a copy of that. And a lot of times in my practice, I have people who talk to me and say that they know someone's coming by, someone from the family has said that, someone's knocking on the door, or people are hearing a process server come by, and they try to avoid that person coming in and leaving the complaint and summons. And they think by doing that they're going to be able to avoid the whole lawsuit altogether. And that's not true. Particularly here in Arizona, that is not true. Because what will happen is if they can't serve you, what they will do is they will then go out to the court and ask for an order for what's called alternative service. And what the alternative service order typically does is the court says, well, you've tried to serve them to the traditional way of bringing it by and placing it in your hand. What we're going to allow you to do is just send a copy to the last known address and post a copy on the door, and that will count as service. And even in times not too far distant past, they would allow them to put it in the classified ads of newspapers. We don't see that as often just because newspapers are kind of going away. So we don't see that as often, but they could do something like that. The problem with that is that, service triggers the deadline as far as the time frame for start ticking for you to be able to respond to your the complaint and the summons. And if you aren't aware of when service happens, then that time may expire without you even being aware of it, and they can get a default judgment. And then the next thing you know, your wages are being garnished without having any information about what the lawsuit is about, when you got served and all that. So my advice generally is to always accept service. Just reach out, get it, deal with it head on. You would be surprised how many strong defenses you actually have, particularly if you're being sued by a junk debt buyer like Portfolio Recovery Associates, Midland Funding, Cash LLC, Cavalry SPV. We're seeing a lot of student loan lawsuits with National Collegiate Student Loan Trust. You have some really good defenses to those suits, so it's better just to accept service and deal with it head on. If you want to learn more about some of the services that we offer and how to deal with some of these kind of suits, my main website is consumerwarrior.com. As part of that website, you can get access to some of our forms and some of our resources at legal.coach. It's all part of the same website, so you can head over and check that out. And with that being said, thanks for watching today.